Welcome back on Channel 3. Today we're going to be interviewing a very special guest. His name is Hugh Jackson, and he survived the Irish potato famine. Now, my first question for you, Hugh, is what was it like before the famine kicked in?
Hi, it's Hugh. Um, Life before the famine was actually very easy. I only had to go check the farm only once a week, and it was very easy, very easy. Its life was good, honestly. I don't really know what happened after that. It's like I said, I was only 5. It was my papa's farm. It's very stable at the time, but once the potato famine started, it just it just didn't go so good. But yeah, back to you, Hunter.
I see. So, another question for you is, were you affected immediately, or was it kind of delayed effect toward you and your family?
Yes, um, immediately not so much. I actually had more of a delay toward me and my papa's farm. My papa's farm actually did really good about the first year of the potato famine. Everybody's farms kept getting corroded with the blight, and we were doing really good. Our neighbor farms were all ruined, but we still were really good until about that first year, when one of our potato crops got infected by the potato blight. Back to you, Hunter.
Okay, Hugh. Now, for the viewers at home that are watching this and don't exactly know what it is, can you go ahead and give us a brief summary of basically what the potato famine was and what caused it?
Oh yes. Um, for you watching at home, the potato blight was actually a disease, a fungi that traveled with cargo overseas that came to Ireland, and when it got to Ireland, it it killed potatoes, and it didn't affect very many countries unless they were heavily reliant on potatoes. We were reliant on potatoes. Our whole economy was reliant on potatoes. And when the blight hit our potatoes, we had to resort to carrots, which weren't very good compared to the potato. And we already had potatoes, not many carrots. So it just started hitting us hard. The blight was, like I said, a fungi. It turned your potatoes black, and if you eat them, you get really sick, and people die from sickness like that. So you had to be very careful with what potatoes you were eating at the time. But yes, that is what the blight is. Back to you, Hunter.
I see. Okay, and do you know how many people were affected by this? Was it a big deal or kind of a small deal, would you say? Could you please elaborate on that?
Yes, like I said earlier, it was a very big deal. It did only affect us the worst, but but it actually affected us a lot. Um, 2 out of 5 people of our population was gone. 1/5 died. 1 million people. We had about 5 million population. 1/5 people died from the potato blight, from starving, from the famine, and it was very bad, very bad. So you might be asking what happened to the other 1/5. You said 2/5 were gone. Well, they all migrated, and that's where I migrated. Me and my grandpappy and my puppy, we all migrated, and we came to the U.S. The U.S. was like one of the best places to come because we know we would have plenty of food, and very welcoming here. And I'd like to thank the U.S. for that, and everyone that allowed me to survive here. So I just want to thank you for that, and that's basically how big it was. 2 out of 5 people were gone. It messed up. It changed the world. It changed the world, especially my world. So thank you very much, the USA. So Thank you.
Now, can you go ahead and give us a summary of your life back in Ireland and why you chose to come to the U.S. and express your feelings with us?
Yes. So we've already explained what the blight was. It was the black fungi that came and ate the potatoes. So the potatoes basically they came and they ate my farm. And every day before the famine, I would get up. I'll be so happy, eat some potatoes. I only had to check on the farm once a week just to see to make sure the farm was going great. So after the potato blight came in, I started looking at neighbors' farms and the potatoes were black. So I started checking every day. Check my potatoes, my grandpappy's potatoes, my pappy's potatoes every single day to make sure we were not affected. Because if we were affected, it would be big no-no. So for the first year, I thought we were doing really good. We're doing something right. Maybe it won't affect us. And then one year, the next year, we started planting our harvest. And all the potatoes were coming up black. They were coming up smaller, and they were black and mushy and soggy. And it was absolutely mind-boggling on how much it could really just change the potato. And this is the first time I ever heard of the blight. It's been a thing, but it's not been in Ireland. And it just changed my world. So after the blight came in, it was just crazy because all the potatoes were dead. Everyone started planting carrots, which you don't see very often. Whole farms of carrots, and we start eating everything we can. And it's crazy because some people start eating like animals that you wouldn't normally eat. Like it's like cats, dogs, like guinea pigs, anything, squirrels, anything you could find, rabbits. They would eat anything they could find just for food because the kids were starving, they were starving, the parents were starving, everyone was starving. And the only way you could survive is if you were really rich, you were friends with someone who was really rich, or you immigrated. And by age 8, when I was age 8, we migrated to U.S. and our first ship that we were going to get on to go to the U.S., it left without us. We were ready to get on a ship and it left and we missed it. So we had to wait another 6 months to get another ship that was ready to take people. And we started eating like all the crazy stuff like cats, dogs. We started eating everything. Everyone was fishing, planting carrots, and planting all kinds of things. And that's when it really started picking up as a big problem. The government was going crazy. Everyone was like, okay, we need to figure out a solution. So the way it happened was everyone died off potatoes. No one got more potatoes. The blight diminished and eventually started going back together. And that's when I moved to the U.S. That's when I started getting freedom. But the blight was just absolutely crazy. But that was basically my summary of what happened in my life, the blight. Back to you, Hunter.
Thank you very, very much for coming on this show and sharing your life story about the Irish potato famine and whatnot. So, any final words, anything you want to say, Hugh?
Yes, I would like to thank the world for my family's for my family's like survival and history that we could be a part of. Although it was a tragedy, I love being a part of it because it's just the world. And I would love to thank the U.S. for making it possible for me to share this today. When I migrated over here, it's absolutely just mind-boggling on how I can actually be here today and share the story. I'm really glad I'm here to share the story. But I think that's all we have today. Thank you. Back to you, Hunter.
That's all the time we have on this show. See you next time. I'm signing out. Goodbye.